In the heart of Dixie where the eagles fly, land of the brave where the bullets don't lie. We fought for our freedom with guns by our side. Red, white, and blue, our southern pride. Raise the flag high, let freedom ring from the rolling mountains to the flatlands. We sing, no one can take our rights. Our Second Amendment will defend our land with every bullet we send. We were born in the USA, land of the free, with guns in our hands. Will forever be Southern blood runs deep through our veins. We'll stand tall for America till the end of our days.
Well, hey there, I'm Sully, and as always, welcome to Gun Club. Folks, I've got to apologize. I know I've been a little bit hard to find recently, hard to catch up with. Things have been kind of crazy in my world, and I've been dealing with some stuff at work, a move at work, and also dealing with some other things. So I'm sorry I haven't been around much, but I'm going to do my best to try to do a little bit more, as much as I can, over the next few weeks, try to make it up to y'all. Also, I may be posting up some videos that are just pre-recorded, not live videos, just to try to get some more content out there, get some more information out there for everybody. Beyond that, a couple of other things to mention. If you need your quick fix of Sully and I haven't been around, you can check out our other channel. I've been doing a lot more over there, honestly, because it's politics season and it's more of a political channel. I try to keep the politics to a minimum over here, but if you're interested in checking out some of our political stuff, you can check out on Rumble exclusively Real Hard Truths. Basically, it's news, opinion, commentary. It's going through trying to tell you the stuff that the mainstream media, well, won't tell you because either they're afraid, they're chicken, I don't know. But yeah, you can tell I caught myself on filter. We're live tonight on both Rumble and YouTube, which is a little bit of a change. The Real Hard Truth channel is Rumble exclusive just because, well, I decided I wanted to be able to vent there and go over truth, go over honesty, go over things that may not be the most politically correct thing to say. Yeah, imagine me not being politically correct. Okay, so far so good. So tonight we've got a couple things we're going to get into, and the first of them is going to be the tragic shooting that occurred down in, I should say, Birmingham, Alabama, on the 21st, which was last Saturday. Now, it was interesting. I didn't see a lot of talk on the national media about this. One of our dedicated listeners in the chat actually sent me a text message and said, "Have you seen Birmingham?" And I was like, no, I haven't. I'm kind of like sitting here with a Bloody Mary in my hand. What's a Birmingham? Did someone paint me a Birmingham? I don't know. And they said no, and they sent me a link. Oh, geez, mass shooter. Okay. So it occurred about 11:30. About 11:30, they get their first calls regarding a shooting. It is outside a club in South Birmingham, Alabama, known as Hush. Group of people lined up just waiting to go in, have a nice night, enjoy the party at Club Hush. Could be a fun place. I don't know, never been there. I don't think I've ever been to Birmingham, quite honestly. But beyond that, we ended up at the end of it with 4 deceased, 3 of them on scene, 1 at the hospital was pronounced deceased. We ended up with 17 injured, 4 of them considered to be life-threatening. As of yesterday, there are still 5 in the hospital. So definitely a bad situation, a tragic situation, something that should not be happening in any civilized, normal country. We consider ourselves to be a civilized country, and this is just not the way, we should be dealing with things. So let's dig into it a little bit further. It's downtown in the entertainment district. Like I said, it's at 5 Points South, South Birmingham, Alabama. People lined up to go in. A car pulls up. multiple individuals get out of the car and proceed to literally spray the crowd with ammunition. Not very nice. Now, when you sit and figure, okay, a car pulled up, four people get out and start spraying the crowd. Well, these people are just lined up to go outside and they'll go out for an evening, have a nice night, go, chase tail with their friends, go out and try to pick up a date, whatever, take their girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever, dancing. No, it shouldn't happen. Now, since that time, the police have come out with a theory, and they haven't said where this theory comes from, but articles have said that the police have come out with a theory that this was actually a professional contract hit for money. That this was not a random act, this was intentional. They don't know if the person, one of the four deceased, was the one they were intended for, someone else, someone who wasn't there. They thought someone would be, they don't know. But they seem very, very, very convinced that it was a contract hit for money. So, okay. Now, I grew up in New York, just outside the city, in 80s and 90s, and there were occasionally contract hits. Most of these contract hits were a lot cleaner than this. You didn't have this much collateral damage. Whoever they were aiming for got hit, maybe one or two collateral damage. It wasn't this reckless four people spraying and praying. This is, again, not the work of a civilized world. This is something out of, some other place far south of here. They say it's a contracted for money. There were multiple shooters. But yet, as of right now, there is still none of the shooters in custody. But they know it's contracted. So obviously someone has been talking, okay? We'll go a little bit further. The weapons used. Well, I mean, they must have used like assault rifles, right? AR-15s and AK-57s and all kinds of things. No, they used handguns. Now, law enforcement believes, and seems like a very reasonable belief, that these were actually Glocks with these little Glock switches installed. If you're not familiar, a Glock switch takes your standard Glock pistol and makes it to a full auto. Personally, I've got a couple of Glocks. I've got no desire whatsoever, even if they were legal, to put switches on them, and they are heavily illegal at the federal level. It makes your Glock pistol a machine gun. If you've ever fired a full automatic weapon, you know how hard it is to control a full automatic weapon. Well, you take a Glock that is a very light frame handgun to begin with, you add the lack of control from a full auto, and chances are these individuals are literally just squeezing the trigger and holding on for dear life as the gun jerks their arm all over the place. They're not, anything. Do they make it more deadly by putting more ammo down range faster? Yes, possibly. Do they make it more controllable, more accurate, more effective? No. They let you spray and pray and dump a lot of ammo down range, but they don't necessarily do anything to make the gun a better shooting firearm. Now, these Glock switches have popped up there. They popped up in several other places, up in Chicago, or Chirac, for those of you all who are familiar. They're seeing them there. These are definitely like gang love devices. They're illegal in the U.S. They're illegal to manufacture or sell in the U.S. But, we can see what's going on. And we say, well, this doesn't really make sense that these people would do this. This is not, as Mel has so astutely pointed out in the chat, this wasn't a Paul Castellano hit. This wasn't we got this one, or this is not a horse head in the bed job. This is random, chaotic. They used to complain about organized crime. Organized crime, yes, can be dangerous, but unorganized crime or chaotic crime, people blindly spraying ammunition into a crowd at a club on a Saturday night, is ridiculous. This, is garbage. And the people who did it, the old mafia hitmen, they had a certain, way they did things. They didn't want collateral damage. They didn't want to get the wife and kids. They just wanted to get the guy. or they just wanted to get one of his family members to send a message. Whatever the case was, it wasn't, let's go out to the club and put a little switch on our Glock and spray and pray like a bunch of damn fools. That's how this was, and very much says. Now, when you look at these Glock switches, you can put one on if you got one or you make one. You can put it on in a minute or two. It converts it in a minute. Even the U.S. attorney in Birmingham states that she's going to start a major initiative focused on these Glock switches that are already illegal. The mayor of Birmingham has come out and said, well, they're not illegal under state law, even though they're totally illegal under federal law. There's no state law, and we need to do something about that. Okay, pass a state law that they're illegal. Great, they're already illegal at the federal level. Now, we keep going back and forth. I've given you a lot of details about this. They've got the names of who was killed. They've got some of the names of people who were injured, those of a certain age, the people who don't want their names given out. The press is respecting that. What is the one thing that we're not hearing about this? It was pretty much clearly a gangland violence paid hit, whether the gang was doing a job for someone or whether it was gang related or there was one of the people in the crowd or thought to be in the crowd was in a gang or a rival gang or something, we don't know. But for a car to pull up and 4 people to randomly spray a crowd, that's gangland violence. But again, there's certain things we don't know about it. And that's the part that's gotten really frustrating. Now, this happened Saturday at 11. It's now, we're sitting here, it's about Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So, to Sunday, to Monday, to Tuesday, to Wednesday. You know what? In an hour, it will be 96 hours since this happened. And the one thing that I cannot find in any article, and I spent a good amount of time researching, reading up on this today, prepping for the show tonight, the one thing I couldn't find is any suspect name, description of the vehicle. It's like they just don't exist. Now, we can, of course, in our minds and in our mind's eye, we can start to imagine who do we think these suspects might be? Um, who could we possibly suggest would do something this absolutely disgusting? I mean, it's got to be someone who's really morally bankrupt. It's got to be someone who's, got some vendetta. Again, was it the gang was just doing it for the money, trying to make a little side money? Their drug dealing and weapons dealing wasn't going as well. Maybe they couldn't sell as many Glock switches as they were trying to sell. Something's up with this, though. You should think that the description of the shooter or shooters, the vehicle, any information about them, I mean, there's a whole crowd of people out there. There's enough that they were able to kill 4 and wound 17. And nobody knows what anyone looks like. Nobody saw the car. Nobody put out anything. There's no description whatsoever. Well, I guess, do we think these people, I think these people, this might be what I visualize the shooters to look like. Imagine, maybe they look something like this. Yeah. I think that's it. Doggone it, folks, it's the Amish. They're at it again. You don't think it's the Amish, really? Someone thinks maybe I'm off? Yeah. And Mel, yeah. Mel's banning the poor Amish. Obviously, this was to do with selling raw milk. There was clearly a dispute between, their group and some other group about who was going to sell the raw milk and homemade cheese on which street corner, and therefore they busted out their glickies and popped a cap in some people, right? Once again, we can hear every politician, every talking head, every media idiot. Oh, well, this is such ridiculous. The mass shootings are out of control. We have a bad gun culture in America. Is it the gun culture or is it the violence culture? I'm willing to bet if and when the individuals who did this are brought to justice, they won't look like these fellas. But, I mean, you can tell me if you think I'm wrong. If you think it's them, hey, I'm fine with that idea. You figure that buggy pulled up, description was 4 white males, 2 with very full beards, a couple of young ones with a little facial scruff going on, and they were last seen southbound in a horse and buggy with a slow-moving vehicle sticker on the back of it, right? We will not get to the point of addressing actions of people, personalities, and there's the problem. If we're trying to solve a problem, we have to identify what the problem is. For example, if you break your arm, you don't put a cast on the leg. If somebody is, stabbed in the shoulder, you don't stop bleeding on their knee. Folks, they're doing it and they're distracting from what the real problem is. Glocks with switches, South Birmingham, Alabama. It's a gang problem. I'm willing to say it. It's a gang problem. Mel, good question. I don't think this is Venezuelan or foreign gangs. I think this is two local rival gangs. That's my gut on it. Just trying to see. Now, I will say there have been plenty of areas in the country that we've had the foreign gangs doing some things. Mentioned earlier, Chirac. The local street gangs of Chicago have recently sort of gotten together and had a little bit of a confabulation of sorts. Yeah, I use that word, confabulation. And they've decided that, well, we all hate each other and we all argue with each other, but we all need to sort of stick together because the Venezuelan gangs are pushing them around in Chicago. And there was a actual gang spokesperson who knew they had them, right? This gentleman has done his time for some felonies and done this and done that. But he came out and said that if something doesn't happen, Chicago's going to burn. And he says the reason for this is, the local street gangs, of which there are plenty, have pretty much gotten to the point and said, look, we need to all band together because these foreign gangs are causing a problem. There are areas in Chicago right now that are controlled by foreign gangs. That TDA, Tren de Agua, same one we keep hearing about, that Venezuelan prison gang. They are now on a border of a war with Chicago. Personally, folks, if you live in Chicago, I would say this. I know it. You might lose some money on whatever. I'd get out of there before the bullets start flying because I have a feeling Chirac is about to earn its name and it's going to be, less safe than going and getting a nice kibbutz on the peninsula. Things are about to go nuts over there. You've got the locals, and they're just like, we're done with this. And the locals are getting madder and madder. And this guy who's a spokesman for the gang, he's out of the gang now, doesn't do anything illegal anymore. He's done his murders, done his time, whatever. And he was talking, and he said, yeah, all the local gangs, we're starting to talk about it. And these newcomers are coming in, and they're trying to push us all around. And we know that one by one, we'd have a hard time defeating them. But if we all go at them at once, we can send them somewhere. Yeah. So, Chicago is becoming the DMZ. Now, I'm sure it's a gun problem, right? It's not a gang problem. It's not a culture problem. No. We've got to fix the problem. And again, I come to culture. I always say it is just because of the fact that I might have a couple of firearms in this house. I have yet to see one of them jump up, load itself, and run out the door to do a hit on somebody. I mean, maybe they want to and they just can't do it. Maybe they're just playing possum with me. I'm not sure. But, we're seeing this stuff and it's getting crazier and crazier. And Mel, I don't think it's the Hatfields and the McCoys. It could be. I'm not going to discount it totally. We'll see, I guess, what happens, as this plays through. We're having more and more drama with the street gangs. So there's kind of what we've had. And again, this is actually the third quadruple homicide in Birmingham in 2024. Murders in Birmingham are up 47% this year. Now, anytime you're watching anyone political who says, oh, crime is way down, The mayor of Birmingham says, no, it's not. The mayor of Birmingham is in crisis. Pretty much the media has demonized the law enforcement force. They're critically low on law enforcement personnel. They can barely staff their shifts. And oh, yeah, the street gangs are taking over, as evidenced by the fact that you can't take your honey or your sweetie or your whatever out to a club on Saturday night without worrying about four people pulling up in a vehicle, getting out, spraying and praying with impunity, getting in the vehicle, driving away, and still 96 hours. No arrest made. They've got $100,000 reward out for information leading to like arrests and convictions, and they're not getting anything. Maybe because the people on the street have no faith in law enforcement, and maybe the reason is because law enforcement has become so demonized. I mention this because, folks, protect yourself. Protect yourself, protect your family. Yeah. You couldn't get me to go out to one of these clubs in one of these neighborhoods right now. There's no way. And I will say, when I'm out in public, if I'm in a large gathering area or something, I'm very aware of my surroundings. And it's not being paranoid, it's not being stupid, it's being intelligent. Yeah. Oh, well, brilliant question, Mel. All that nightlife and there's no security footage from anything? Uh, yeah, I wonder how that happened. Or maybe the PD just have it, but they don't want to release it because if they do, maybe the shooters wouldn't look like this. And remember, like our president, or our potato in chief, I should say, says, the biggest threat right now to our country is MAGA Republicans. It's people like me, white conservative males. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm the problem. No, these idiot gangbangers who are out there spraying and praying at clubs, taking the lives of innocent people are the problem. All right, a little change of pace. We've hit that one. I want to talk a little bit about the second assassination attempt on President or Donald J. Trump. Now, the fact that I have to delineate this as the second attempt, that right there should be enough to let you know something's wrong with some people in this country. Yeah, we're talking about the second, not the first one. Although I do have some interesting news out of the first one as well. But the second one. Now, this occurred down at Trump International Golf Course in West Palm Beach, and it was on Sunday the 15th. And Donald Trump happened to be in the area and wanted to go out and play a round of golf. Now, whether you like Donald Trump, hate Donald Trump, whether you think he is, you know, the son of Hitler reincarnated, whether you think he's the greatest thing in the world, anybody, regardless of whether they're a real estate mogul, presidential candidate, former president, um, doctor, lawyer, biscuit baker, I don't give a rat's ass, should be able to go out and play a round of golf on Sunday afternoon without some piece of shit out in the woods or in the tree line taking aim at them with an SKS. And I will say this, and I've said it consistently, and I'm going to say it unequivocally. I don't care whether it's Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Michelle, Melania, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Doug Imhoff, any of them. I don't care who it is, whether it's, one of the Bushes, one of their kids. Political violence and assassinations are generally disgusting. I have no place for it in any civilized society. It is one of the indicatives of being a third world banana republic, where basically, if you can't beat your competitor at the ballot box, you just go out there and you shoot them, or you jail them, or you do something like that. You put a car bomb in their car. Is this what we're becoming? Well, 2 assassination attempts in like 2.5 months. Yeah, this is kind of what we're becoming. And it's dangerous and it needs to be stopped. Now, the guy who was involved in this is a really, really interesting character. His last name is Ruth, and I'm just going to use that. I'm not going to give you his first name because personally, I don't think he deserves a first name. We're going to call him Ruth. How about we call him Baby Ruth? You know, I would call him like, what was that? Who was the old lady, the crazy sex therapist who used to say wild stuff on TV all the time? Wasn't her name Ruth? Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll call him, we'll just call him Baby Ruth. 58-year-old male, U.S. citizen. Now, he claims that he voted for and supported Trump in 2016. He may have supported him. There's questionable evidence as to whether or not he voted for him. He was registered to vote in North Carolina in the Greensboro area in 2016, but there's question as to whether or not he ever showed up and actually did vote. But so he was a Trump supporter in 2016. Subsequent to that, he's gone a little bit off the reservation. He registered as an independent voter in 2012, but by 2018 or so, in 2020, he has writings stating that he no longer supports Donald Trump in any way. He had a lot of very negative things to say about, Okay, we've got that one here. Yeah. Dr. Ruth. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to give him Dr. Ruth. We might just call him Ruth Weisenheimer. I could go with that. I mean, this guy, he's a whack job. I'll cut to the chase. I'll give you the sort of a, 2-second whack job. Yeah. Knuckin' futz, okay? He might have all 6 cans, but the plastic thing to hold it together, get me a couple fries short of a Happy Meal. Maybe not the brightest crayon in the box. You can go with these all day. I've got a stack of them. Yeah, this guy is about 4 fleas short of a circus. But, and Mary brought up here on the last one, just to hit this on. Yeah, really interesting observation. These guys use handguns. So it takes away from the cry to ban assault weapons. So let's not take too much about that. Yeah. My thing is, again, Mary, I still want to know. I want suspect descriptions to come out. I want them to say what it is. But, And Mel's nice enough to join us here. That's right. I don't believe Baby Ruth's cornbread is quite done in the middle. Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, when you look at some of this guy's stuff. And he's got a book he wrote that's available on Amazon. And I have to admit, I think it's like $1 or $2. And on one side, while I wouldn't want to give this bastard a nickel, I would almost like to read his book just to see how messed up his football bat really is, if you get my drift. Yeah. He moves to Hawaii in 2018 from North Carolina, although he still maintains some footprint in Greensboro. But his criminal history dates back to the 1900s, 1980s, 1990s. One thing is, in North Carolina in 2002, he got pulled over for a traffic offense. This led to a pursuit, which led to him barricading himself in a business office or a business facility that he worked in, and possession of an automatic weapon. Yeah. This guy could have theoretically gotten his birth certificate revoked by SWAT back in 2002. He didn't. So, unfortunately, yeah. His felony convictions, plenty of them. Prohibited possessor, plenty of them. Yet somehow he ends up with an SKS rifle. Okay. Now, I've owned SKSs over time. I haven't had one recently. Back in the mid-90s, I had a friend of mine who had got a good deal on some Chinese SKSs. We played with them. I wasn't really gung-ho into going down the 7.62 road, so I didn't. But this guy's out there with a 7.62 by 39 SKS. Don't know its origin. Serial number is obliterated on it, so it's a crime gun to begin with. It's a crime for that gun to exist. It's a crime for him to have any gun. I guess gun laws don't work. Mel, would you make a note? Gun laws failed again. The same thing like the gun laws that are supposed to keep those Glock switches off the Glocks in Alabama. Gun laws aren't working. Do we need more of them, or do we need to maybe enforce the ones we've got? This guy was busted before for felon with a firearm. So, yeah. If we're not going to do anything, who's going to stop the bad guys? Now, he now, based on phone tracking and everything else, shows that he went down there over 30 days in advance and was scouting out around the club, around different areas, doing his little pre-op surveillance. So we've got a guy who is a known felon who has somehow come up with an SKS with a obliterated serial number, out scouting for a month in advance to try to come up with a way to whack DJT. And nobody noticed. I have to say, President Trump was damn lucky that day. A rookie Secret Service agent, a rookie on the detail, sees this barrel coming out of the wood line and opens up and engages on him. And of course, at this point, little bitty baby Ruth turned tail and ran, because he's all well and good to hide in the bushes and play sniper with his SKS. But when confronted by Secret Services using handguns versus his SKS assault weapon, yeah, the bitch run. Sorry, baby Ruth. All I know is I am sure your cellmate will enjoy you in prison. Enjoy that Fed time. Yep. It's just not a good day for him, I don't think. But anyway, so had it not been for that Secret Service agent doing the pre-sweep a couple of holes ahead of where Trump was, seeing him, engaging him, basically sees the barrel coming out, and he decides to look at baby Ruth and say, yeah, let's see how long yours is, and opens up on him, scares him off. He takes off. He gets busted 1 or 2 counties south of there in Martin County, taken into custody without incident. And in the vehicle, vehicle was running stolen plates to begin with, and he had other license plates in the vehicle. He also had 6 cell phones in the vehicle. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if someone is working alone, why do they need 6 cell phones? Remember, he's lone wolf, lone actor, not working for anybody. Stated that he's making $3,000 a year roughly doing roofing work and doing building construction work and building tiny houses in Hawaii. Even though the people who he built some of the things for in Hawaii said that his workmanship was absolute crap and looked shoddy. And when they tried to talk to him about, why what he was building for them looked so crappy, he went off on them about how they were trying to be mean to him because they were rich and he was poor. Yeah, remember that. They're like rich people being mean to him, and he's poor. They think they're better than him. Well, if they didn't try to kill anyone this week, they probably are better humans than he is. I'm just saying. I support good humans, regardless of, which side of the truth they want to be on. This guy, in 2002, again, was in a barricade situation with law enforcement. In 2018, 2019, he's starting to come out anti-Ukraine. This is going to be really interesting because, as we go, it's definitely kind of fun. Yeah, very well said, Mary. Gun laws tend not to work because criminals don't follow the law. Don't you hate it when that happens? Yeah. Imagine that. And again, multiple cell phones for whichever alphabet agency he was dealing with. Mel says, yeah, I seriously can't wait to see the release of the JFK. All of this smacks of government conspiracy, and that goes way, way back. Yeah. And just for the record, Mel, you're not feeling particularly depressed right now, are you? No, of course not. And our dear friend Bill has wandered in the chat. Good evening, Mr. Dozer, sir. I hope you and all the little baby dozers are doing wonderful. And I hope you're having a wonderful tipping night on DoorDash World. May they do great things for you. Um, Mel says, "Yeah, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but yeah, feel bad about being a conspiracy theorist. All that says is that you got to the right opinion at the wrong time." Um, I remember all the great conspiracy theorists who said there was like something about a lab leak, but that wasn't a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, it was pangolin soup. Yeah, yeah. Believe that bullshit if you want. Um, Bill's out doing the DoorDash. Give him a shout out, folks. If you haven't ever caught his channel, he does a channel over on Rumble, and he also does it on, I believe, Twitter. Bill, by all means, feel free to throw your links up in the chat to your stuff. He does a little bit of newsy stuff and everything else, but sometimes can give you a little bit of a lighthearted laugh at the insanity, which is always nice, especially with the degree of insanity we have. And for those of y'all who don't know, our most favorite mouse is trying to recover from COVID at the minute. And if you haven't had a chance, we all need to wish Miss Mel a very, very happy birthday. Even though the gods of Corona crapped all over her birthday and she did not get to see The Lion King, but, that's okay. Stuff happens, you know. Let's see here, what else we got? Yeah. Bill says, "Yeah, I'm just a conspiracy analysis. It ain't no theory about it." I'll agree. Yeah, there's a lot out there on those, and it is what it is. So anyway, back to this guy. 2020 or so, he starts coming out real. 2022, he starts becoming very passionate about Ukraine. Okay. Now, regardless again of where you sit on Ukraine, you're a 50-something-year-old white guy who does light construction and builds like stuff like that. And yeah, guess what? He decides to pack it all in and go to Ukraine to volunteer to be in their army. I will give Ukraine one big bonus point. They refused him. Probably, I don't know. Given how well he stood up with one SKS to a Secret Service officer with nothing but a pistol, probably a good idea. I don't see this female canine as being a battlefield asset. Quite frankly, does the phrase "itch bay" mean anything to the chat? Yeah, folks, it's a little bit different when you're on the range than when the targets are firing back. Just saying. Yeah, he turned tail and went run, rabbit, run, and left all of his crap, his GoPro camera, his ballistic shield, his SKS with no serial number. Yeah, I'm hoping at some point Quantico can raise a number off of it. It's always possible. You never know. So, but there's such a dichotomy. A 56, 58-year-old life loser who couldn't even sign up and be accepted to be cannon fodder for Zelensky's little shit show with Putin, who then goes on social media and tries to do a bunch of recruiting. And it's interesting, they talked to Oleksandr Shaguri, and I have a quote from him. He's an officer of the Foreign Coordination Department of the Land Forces Command for Ukraine. He told CNN over the phone the best way to describe his message is totally delusional. Went on to say that he offered large amounts of recruits from other countries, but it was obviously not realistic. The guy was interviewed on a European or Ukrainian media. He said, "Putin is a terrorist. He needs to be ended. We need everybody from around the globe to stop what they're doing. Come here now." Dude, I personally don't have a lot of feelings about the whole thing. I think Putin screwed up going into Ukraine. I don't agree with it. I understand why he did it. When you look at what someone does, worry less about what they do than what their motivation is, what they're hoping to accomplish. I think Putin's trying to sustain his legacy, if you ask me. But even if I was 100% anti-Putin and 100% pro-Zelensky, I'm 50-something years old. Would I be packing up my life in the good old USA to go over there to sign up to be basically thrown into the meat grinder to give up my life for the Ukraine? No. There's certain things I'd be willing to risk my life for, and some of y'all know that, yeah, I'll do a hell of a lot for my country. I'll do some for maybe certain allies. Wouldn't do much of anything for Ukraine. I don't see a lot of loyalty that I owe him. But this guy dyes half of his hair blue, half of his hair yellow, and is on social media trying to rally all these volunteers from all around the country, telling the Ukraine command that he can get all these people. And they're like, "You're freaking delusional, bro." Yeah, I almost wish they had sent him out to the battlefield. Ooh, is that mean? I don't know. Maybe he could have done some good, caught a bullet for someone else who would have been useful to society. But so this is who he is, packing up, running over to Ukraine. He's made several trips to Taiwan, different other things. You know, you get to the point and you say, what is this guy? You know, what's his worth to society? What's he trying to do? He's traveling to Turkey and to Taiwan and different countries. Now, remember, he builds tiny houses in Hawaii and doesn't do it very well and doesn't get a lot of repeat business. And it's not like he owns that tiny house company, he builds. And he's affording all international plane tickets. How? If this is not enough to make somebody go, yeah, big one there. We go one step further. Yeah. Think about the fact that he says he's living on $3,000 a month. That's what he said repeatedly, 3K a month. But yet, at his hearing this week, they said that in his letter, his open letter, and we've got a copy of that, that although he failed in his assassination attempt, anybody who can succeed in the attempt, he's got $150,000 for them. Well, $150,000. If you're living on, and folks in the chat, let me know if I'm missing something here with Basic Econ 101. If you're living on 3K a month and you're barely paying your bills and you're behind on child support and you're bouncing all over the place, how are you affording international plane tickets, GoPro cameras, SKS with an obliterated serial number? Now, he may have gotten just an SKS in the shop and he may have obliterated it. Personally, I'm glad he didn't do something better like go out and buy a PSA AR. Probably would have gotten that cheaper. But be that as it may. My point is, this guy traveled to Florida and was there scoping it out and playing I Spy for at least 30 days prior with no discernible income set, with his $3,000 a month he's living on. Don't know where that's coming from. Maybe his tiny houses. He's got a footprint in Greensboro, a footprint in Hawaii, but he's able to travel to Florida, come up with a gun, and do all this stuff. If there's not someone funding, sponsoring, supporting, I'm just not seeing it. I know what guns cost, and there's something here, that really gets. Mel, what you got here? She says, yeah, I would jump in front of a car for baby girl. Quite possibly, quite possibly. Yeah, I think y'all have seen baby girl on one of our shows here. She's our favorite floof here, and she comes in. She's not actually my dog. We have joint custody. She's a good friend's dog, but when the good friend comes in, she will, or goes out of town, she lets me borrow her. But yeah, as Mel says here, yeah, the math ain't mathing. Something ain't working with this. You can't tell me this guy is living on this and's got the money to fly international all over hell and half of Georgia, has the money to, travel for a month to Florida. I mean, if nothing else, his food bill should be over $3,000 for a couple of months. If you're eating on the road all the time, folks, we know what it is. God, I know what it is from being in EMS. So all this stuff is going on. But yeah, he worked alone. Yeah, 6 cell phones. And apparently, where he was at one point, he left a box with someone else that had 4 or 5 cell phones in it. and a bunch of writings and manifestos and manuscripts. And the interesting thing, I will say, the DOJ let his letter out very, very quickly, much more quickly than you would have seen, say, someone who shot up a school in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been meaning to do that because I've got a lot on that that's come out, but just again, sorry, folks, been tied up really hard in the political space recently, dealing with Donald and the Kami Lama. Yeah. See above, get answers on money. Yeah. Um, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how this guy was able to do this. He somehow had someone he had, possibly he had a sugar daddy. Maybe he found some nice old rich man that as long as he serviced them on a regular, that the guy would pay for all of his little warrior fantasies and soldier of fortune dreams and everything else, and go buy him his own SKS with an obliterated serial number. Yeah, I don't know. Something's up. Who knows? Maybe he's got some great skills or something. They may serve him well in federal prison. We'll hope. Because if you're not familiar, I think that's where he's going to end up spending the rest of his days. So far, he's being held without bond on possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number, possession of a firearm by a felon, and now with all the letters and everything about his intent to do bad things to DJT, it definitely can make it a little bit easier to escalate. So that's kind of where we sit on him. We know the incident occurred September 15th, about 2 in the afternoon. He had left all his gear there. He fled, gets pulled over in Martin County. He's got $150,000 he's talking about. He's been there for over a month. I think we need to figure out how he got to Florida from either North Carolina or Hawaii. I know from Hawaii there was a plane involved. Driving New York, North Carolina, Florida, you can do that just driving, but there's kind of some questions there just in how it was. And again, wanted to share this, Bill. If you didn't catch the early part of the stream, I just do want to share this with you, Bill, so you can get your chuckle out of it with the rest of us. Because I figured you'd appreciate this one. We're trying to come up with a solid suspect description for the person or persons that were involved in the shooting at the nightclub in Atlanta that left 4 dead and 17 injured. Bill, what do you think? Does this look like the possible suspect description you'd expect? And with that being said, folks, the next question I have to come up to is, if you believe that that's a suspect description, okay, I'm good with that. I'm willing to play with that. On the other side of the coin, why are we not doing something about it? Why is there, with all the talk they have about we can do violence prevention, we can do this, we can do that, how come these things keep happening, these shootings, and we don't seem to be able to do anything about it? Definitely kind of makes me wonder. Alrighty. While we take a minute here, I'm going to give a big shout out to our dear friends at 4Patriots. If you're not familiar with 4Patriots, it's National Preparedness Month. And at 4Patriots, we want to celebrate by bringing back the unbelievable buy one, get one free on their solar generators. For a limited time, when you buy the powerful Patriot Power Generator 2000X, you get a mini generator for free. You can plug in 2 solar panels. You come with it. That's not one, but 2 solar panels. Incredibly, buy one, get one free on solar generators. So now you've got your power independence, your free mini generator and solar panels. Now, you may think, okay, I'm not worried about that. Folks, I'm in South Carolina. We've got a storm bearing down on us. How nice is it to know that if the power goes out, if the AC goes out, if the power fails right here, right now, I've got electricity. My meat, my food, my fridge, all going to keep working. If I want to cook something, I can do it. If I need to record something, I can do it. If I need to charge my phone, I can do it. So again, look at these Patriot power generators for patriots.com. I've gotten a lot of their products, or I won't say a lot, but a few of their products. They've got some stuff that you can use when you're camping. They've got a really cool solar kettle that I really like because it basically allows you to boil water using nothing but the sun. It's self-contained, can be really handy if you go camping and you want to be able to make a hot cup of soup of an evening. Guess what? You can go ahead, heat the water up in this solar kettle. Once you do that, you can make your soup and it warms it up for you. So, again, definitely a nice way to go through it. So, got to give a big shout out to our friends at Four Patriots. They do real well. And again, their products, not just for prepping, but camping, outdoors, travel. One of the things I've seen they've got that I really love, they've got a solar based charger for cell phones. So if I go out somewhere, and let's say you're having a big day out at the beach, you bring this thing with you, you can charge it up before you leave the house, or if you've used it, you can leave it out in the sun to recharge, and then you can charge your phone off of it. Imagine not ever having to find a plug like in an airport or yeah, any place when you're on the road. They come in really handy. I even take mine to hotels when I go on the road places. That way I don't have to worry about trying to find a place to plug in or not unplugging a desk lamp or an alarm clock. Yeah, definitely always nice to have. So yeah, big shout out to Four Patriots, and we appreciate them supporting us. Um, let's see here. Mel says, yeah. Um, see the above to get the answer. Yeah. I think there could be definitely some connections with foreign governments. That could be very, very plausible. We know that there are at least 3 to 4 foreign governments right now that are trying to take a shot at Donald Trump. It's no, secret to anyone who's, following up with any of this stuff, what's going on. And I mean, let's face it, we're in a highly politically charged situation these days. So again, when you look at what's going on or who would have a beef or who would want to do something, well, it's not too hard to figure out. After all, hell, Kamala Harris has so far gotten an endorsement from Iran, from Putin. Oh yeah, and the IRS union. They're all such nice people. So it is what it is. But from that standpoint, they have come out finally. The Secret Service has said in their latest report on the first attempt that, yeah, they actually realize there are 5 or 6 different organizations that are putting a price out on DJT. Kind of wonderful when you think about it, because that's, yeah, again, third world crap. It's not how our politics is supposed to work. So definitely, problematic to me. Alrighty, any questions on any of that stuff? We've had kind of a nice night tonight. It's been a much lighter night. Again, I apologize for not being around as much as I usually am. I've been doing a lot more shows over on the other channel just because of 'tis the political season for the drama. But I'm going to bring some of these out here too because we look at some of these crazy situations that we hear. Let's look at this one is out of Dearborn, Missouri, which, again, we know Dearborn, not the Dearborn, Michigan that we'd think of, but this is rural Missouri. An unknown man was shot and killed when he attempted to force his way into a rural Missouri home after he prayed to a horse and attacked a dog. Okay. Prayed to a horse. You pray what you want to. Attacked a dog? Oh, no, no, no. No be me to floof. No be me to floof. Okay. Platte County, Missouri Sheriff's Office says that around 9 p.m. on Wednesday, September 18th, emergency crews were called to the 15,000 block of Masonic Drive in Dearborn with a report of a suspicious individual. He is praying to my dog. He is praying to my horse and trying to assault my dog. The homeowner reported a partially clothed man. Okay, we got a little nudity here. I like it. Had arrived at their home and begun to pray to a horse before he attacked their dog. When he attempted to force his way into the home, the homeowner then shot him. Okay. I One thing to the good guy with a gun. I'll let him pray to the horse if he wants to. At the point he starts attacking the dog, I don't know if he has to like break into the house to cross that threshold. Look, you go after Fido, I come after you. It's really, really simple. Dogs are incredibly loyal, and I think that loyalty should be reciprocated. You no mess with your dogs, and we'll let you live. So let's see what we got here. What's this Mel saying here? Um, that tells me there's a good reason why the bad folks don't want him in office. Yeah, there's all sorts of reasons why the bad folks don't want him. Look, folks, if you come out and you just want to support the same people or same person or same team that's supported by the IRS that's going to audit you with like a significant lack of Kentucky jelly, yeah. Really? Are you voting for your own demise? Anyway, the law enforcement officials arrived. They found a suspicious man dead at the entrance of the home and described as a white guy in his 30s or 40s. Maybe it's Maybelline, maybe it's methamphetamine. As a result of the shooting, investigators indicated that the school was put on lockdown for about an hour, since been lifted. Again, someone is trying to break into someone's house. This individual, the citizen, is in their own home. Their dog has been attacked. Their horse has been prayed to. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a time that we need a good guy with a gun. And again, the suspicion, the gut instinct, the I've worked the road before a time or two. Yeah, this guy was strung out on something. And if you're that strung out that you're ditching clothes and trying to like, you know, pray to the horse, yeah, there's probably something wrong there. So definitely worthwhile revoking his birth certificate. Because if he's that strung out on drugs, he's not thinking right. And he'll do whatever he thinks he's doing to you, your family, or whatever. Here's another one comes out of Abingdon, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is not the greatest for gun laws, but they're not as bad as like their neighbors in Maryland and New Jersey. Uh, Say a man followed a woman home from a casino. He then forced his way inside and tried to rob her at gunpoint. So, ladies, I know there's at least one or two ladies in the chat here. You're having a nice night at the casino, you're going home, and what happens? Some jackass follows you home from the casino, forces his way in your house, and tries to rob you at gunpoint. I hate to say it, but it seems like this individual is just making things happen to him. Bad choice of targets, apparently. On September 23rd, around 1 a.m., Township Police said they were called to Horace Avenue in Abingdon for a man shot after a home invasion. The victim told police that she had just returned from the casino when a man, identified as Kabir Shepherd, pointed a gun at her and forced his way into her home. He pushed her to the ground, grabbed her purse from the dining table. The victim said she screamed for help from her adult son, who was asleep in the back bedroom inside the home. The victim's son retrieved his legally owned firearm and ran to help his mother. Good son. Good boy. Now, he sees Shepard's firearm, feared for his life, fired 2 shots. Shepard was hit in the back and the arm by the shots and ran from the home before collapsing on the front lawn, and at that point, fertilizing the lawn with what was left of his liquid red existence. Yeah, high iron content in this new fertilizer, don't you think? After being taken into custody, he was taken to the hospital where he was treated and released. So, folks, the bad guy lived, which, okay, fine. That's a good thing. On the other side of that coin, you know, he breaks into this person's house, attacks the woman. Had it not been for her son, would she be dead? Would she be alive? What would have been done to her? There's a reason why we're, safe. There's a reason why we carry. There's a reason why we're aware. Because, hey, she got followed home by a psycho. Let's see what other ones we have here. There were a couple of others I saw that looked really interesting. Um, this one that comes out of Mount Holly, North Carolina, just up the road from here, September 10th, during an armed robbery at a food store near Mount Holly. The robber pointed his gun at a customer who tried to intervene. The customer, a concealed carry permit holder, drew his own gun and revoked the robber's birth certificate. So now he goes in. He's not just about robbing the store. The customer speaks up or says, hey, that ain't right, or don't do that. So then the guy's waving his gun around at the customer. Unfortunately, the customer was able to clear up and take care of the idiot. So it is what it is. Let's see here. It's in Gaston County, North Carolina. I've talked there. The customer had a concealed carry pistol, shot him. Yeah. He pointed his gun at the customer. Yeah. It terrifies me that it's so close to home nowadays. I mean, it's like you can't even go outside anymore without carrying a gun or something to defend yourself. Was there something better than a gun? I'm just checking. I mean, it's really sad. I will agree. Nobody wants this world. Nobody likes this world. Nobody wants people to have to shoot idiots. But as long as the idiots keep being idiots, I hate our own people in America having to fight their own selves. It should never have happened. His family stated that he was a Navy veteran and they're waiting for police to finish their investigation. Okay. So, hey, maybe, he had some military issues. Maybe there was some PTSD that I don't know. But to go into a gas station or a convenience store and rob them at gunpoint, sir, you're making a bad bed for yourself. And I hate to say it. I saw a judge, and it was really interesting. It was Judge Fleischman. He with Harris County Court, and he had a young man in front of him, and the young man had participated in an armed carjacking. Now, if you're not familiar with Harris County, that's the area immediately surrounding the great city of Houston. And Judge Fleischman realized that this 18, 19-year-old kid wasn't a hardened criminal, and he probably had a lot of learning to do. And so Judge Fleischman said, so you went out and you tried to rob this guy. You were out with your buddies, you tried to rob this guy and take his car, and someone's waving a gun at him. And the kid's like, yes, sir. And Fleischman just let off on him. He said, we're in Texas. One thing people love about as much as their cars is their guns. What would I be telling your mother if that guy had pulled out a gun and ended your life right then and there? How would that call go to your mother, son? The kid broke down. Again, I hate to say it. I don't want to see 17, 18-year-old kid lose his life. But if you're going to go out and do that stuff, you're setting yourself up to do it to the wrong person. And you may get away with it 99 times. And on time number 100, you run up against someone who is trained, who is carrying, who knows how to deploy from the concealment point and drop lead on you fast. And before you know it, your mother, your uncle, your baby mama, whatever, they're getting that phone call that, I'm sorry, so-and-so was killed in an armed robbery. Or they kill the other person in the robbery, or one of the other bad guys gets killed, and you get picked up, and as being part of it, you get a felony murder charge. Yes, I know you're 17, and I know you're just in the prime of your life, and you just made that one bad mistake. But unfortunately, someone died during your bad mistake, and so we're going to try to put you in jail for the next 40 years of your life. Don't worry, your cellmates are looking forward to it. As Mel would say, there was a significant lack of Kentucky jelly in their future. But anyway, that being said, folks, that's about all I've got for tonight. I appreciate you coming by to visit with us here on the Rumble stream. I will be doing a live show tomorrow night on the other channel. If you're not familiar with it, come out, check it out, see what you think. It is definitely a little bit more hardcore political, but it's also kind of fun because we get into talking about the truth, what the mainstream media won't tell you, and I love to play clips on there where we laugh at the mainstream media because, let's face it, they need to be mocked. They deserve to be mocked. All these people who went to school for 4 years, 6 years, post grad degrees, and everything else in journalism, and they can't tell the truth from a lie. And I'll leave you with this to contemplate, folks. Who wore it better? That's right. Just say no to commie llamas.